Joining us right now from Jackson Hole this morning, not at the Fed meeting, but really just right there anyway. Blockchain Symposium. Anthony Scaramucci is joining us, SkyBridge Capital. I assume they did this and put it right there in Jackson Hole so that these things could be next to each other.
Yeah, that was an idea of one of my partners, John Dorsey, actually said, hey, why don't we have a decentralized banking conference near the Fed Central Banking Conference? We did invite some Fed people, but Andrew, as you would imagine, they said no to that. But we did get Senator Lummis, and Tim Scott was here. Jay Clayton was here. We had a very strong, following of C-suite level crypto industry players, and it was great. It was a great event. We're here at the Four Seasons, which is a little more bougie than where the Fed is, but it's been a lot of fun. And I think the good news is you're talking about Bitcoin, so I think the good news is the overhang of supply seems to be ending, which is good news for Bitcoin in the back half of this year.
We did talk to Tom Lee earlier in the broadcast just about the divergence between Bitcoin and gold and what that says about the market and what that says about Bitcoin. What do you think it says?
I didn't hear that, but I'm interested to hear what Tom says because he's obviously very prescient. But I don't make much of it right now. I know the big gold bugs are saying Bitcoin hasn't moved in 2 years. And gold has gone up about 30%, so therefore it's a better store of value than Bitcoin. I've always maintained, when speaking to you guys, I don't see Bitcoin as a store of value today. I still see it as an early adopting technology. Could it be a store of value if there's over 1 billion wallets? Sure, we could look at it that way. Is it a future store of value? Yes. But I just think that you've had a lot of things going on with Bitcoin as it relates to the regulatory headwinds. The Grimace coin thing is not something I'm a fan of. I have to totally understand why the SEC wouldn't like that. I just want those types of things not to cloud some of the great things that are happening in the industry. There's payments and rail systems on Bitcoin and other layer one technologies that will advance our economies. If we're spending $6-7 trillion a year on transactions and verification of transactions, this could reduce those costs the same way we've reduced a lot of telecom costs and improved innovation and efficiencies in the economy. So, listen, I like gold. I have no problem with gold. I own some gold, Andrew. But I've made we've pivoted our business, as you know, 3-4 years ago into Bitcoin and other digital assets like Solana and Ethereum.
How much of the flows? Part of the bull case, at least the short-term bull case, has been that the introduction of Bitcoin ETFs was going to change everything. And so I'm curious, when you now look at sort of the price action on Bitcoin, how much of that is being driven by folks buying Bitcoin, the actual currency itself, versus folks who are buying ETFs and then those ETF funds turning around and having to buy or sell Bitcoin?
So I think that's the central question, Andrew. But let's go back about a year. Bitcoin was hovering around 30-ish thousand. It was decimated in 2022 down to 17,000. And so the regulatory clearance for the ETF made it safe to go into Bitcoin for lots of institutional investors. And even places like Morgan Stanley are now allowing their financial advisors to solicit people on Bitcoin. And so we had BlackRock executives out here talking about this phenomenon. They got $23 billion. It's the most successful ETF launch in history. So that's paving the way and making it more acceptable. So I think it's been very meaningful. If you had said to me last year when Bitcoin was in the 30s that we'd be here in the 60s post-halving, I think most people in the industry would be very happy. I think we always want this instant gratification, and because of Bitcoin's volatility, all of us were seeing, and myself included, and I got this wrong, but I think it's relative to timing as opposed to actual results. I do think Bitcoin gets to 100,000. It's just taken longer. There's been just more regulatory hurdles, more uncertainty. There was some fraud exposed, as we both know, over leverage in the system. But I think it's a much healthier, much sturdier system today.
Right.
And so we like the fundamentals here.
But what do you think is going on in terms of this, where the money is coming from? Meaning, When you see the sort of price action today, how much of that is moving as a function of the ETFs versus Bitcoin holders individually?
Yeah, so there was actually discussions here about that. It's about 65% is coming into the ETFs, 35 going into direct coins, if you will. It's easy for people to buy it, and it can get stored on their brokerage account. There's a QSIP number, and as you know, because you and I have been on Wall Street a long time, this is my 35th year on Wall Street. Wall Street is a selling machine, and they haven't even amped up that selling machine yet. But just imagine tens of thousands of FAs and RIAs out there explaining to people that they need a position like this in their portfolio. So it's coming. And let me tell you something, Andrew. Having gone through the pain of all of this, and at least 2 bear cycles of Bitcoin now, I like where we are.
Finally, Anthony, obviously the DNC convention's taking place right now. The conventional wisdom is that Trump would be better for crypto. I don't know if is it conventional wisdom or is right or wrong? Where do you land on that, given your views? And let's just talk about it directly.
I just like when at the beginning, Anthony, when you said we got a bunch of C-level guests here, and then you said C-suite level. It's like there's a huge difference between like a C guest and a C-suite. You know, one word makes a huge difference. You're right.
You know, it's a little early here. It didn't come out right, Joe, but I meant to say C-suite.
No, but I heard you change it. I was
like, just quickly, I think they're pivoting, and I think people remember Donald Trump pivoted. He hated it. He put it out on Twitter, the presidential feed. He then went to the Bitcoin conference. I do think that they are pivoting. Senator Schumer said last week at a Crypto for Harris, which I attended Zoom call, that he'd like to get legislation done by the end of this year. I don't know if that can happen or not. I don't know the Congress as well as he does. But I do see this clearing. I do see this being something that has bipartisan support going into 25 and 2026.